you. Let's talk e-cigarettes now. They're marked as the healthier way to get your nicotine fix. But as they become more popular across the state, a new study says they may not be as healthy as sellers would have you believe. Many e-cigarette businesses claim the devices are a healthier option that help many people quit nicotine altogether. Now, however, scientists at Brown University aren't convinced. They're releasing a study saying e-cigarettes are just as bad for your heart as a regular cigarette. The study claims that nicotine can cause plaque to form inside the heart all on its own, even without the chemicals. While e-cigarettes may be safer on the lungs, the study says they're still dangerous. Now, for more on this topic, let's send things over to Nadia.
Thanks, Brian. And to break down the growing debate, joining us now is Dr. Denitza Blagev, a pulmonologist from Intermountain Medical Center. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we keep hearing about new studies, and we hear about how e-cigarettes are better than traditional cigarettes, and then we hear another study that says they're not, the heart versus the lung. There's so much information. I just want to ask you what your thoughts are. Are e-cigarettes better for your health than traditional cigarettes?
I think part of the reason there's controversy around this particular point is that it's a little bit more of a complicated question to answer. I think most people think that if you were to smoke exactly one cigarette and it was an e-cigarette instead of a regular cigarette, even though the e-cigarettes aren't just water vapor and nicotine necessarily, they're still probably better for you than smoking an actual cigarette. I think the bigger part of the controversy comes in where people have looked at whether this is a tobacco cessation tool, and it turns out that we don't have any evidence to suggest that it is. And more recent studies showing that children who pick up e-cigarettes are also more likely to pick up regular cigarettes. And so the concern in great part comes from the thought that e-cigarettes may in fact be a way of normalizing tobacco use, of discouraging people from quitting, because now maybe they are able to smoke places where normal cigarettes wouldn't be allowed, and so therefore they're more likely to stick with the habit.
And you just mentioned the lack of research. We have more studies that are coming out, but we don't have the long-term research that we have with traditional cigarettes. Is that part of the problem of figuring out if they're good, bad, if we should, use those as a tool to get off traditional cigarettes? We just don't have that data?
Exactly. And one of the issues is that e-cigarettes are currently not regulated, so even testing different brands or different batches between different companies, when they do the chemical analysis, even the chemicals that are emitted with e-cigarettes really vary. The other issue is that there are no studies showing that this would be a tobacco cessation tool, and in fact the companies aren't really claiming that, because if they did, that would require FDA regulation, and so that's part of the issue there. Is they're new, we just don't know.
There's so much talk about this, but you're able to see the effects of smoking, regardless of what someone is smoking, on the front lines. What do you see in your line of work?
I mean, for pulmonologists, most of what we deal with is really tobacco-related lung disease. Some of the common things that we see are COPD, emphysema, lung cancer, and cigarettes ravage every part of the body, so heart disease, peripheral vascular disease, strokes, pretty much everything. So that is a really big concern, and I think anything that detracts us from being able to help people quit smoking is a concern. And I think that's why there's kind of the two camps, where some people think, and this is still a debate because we don't really have the data to say definitively, but some people think that if you can use e-cigarettes to quit, then on the whole maybe that's a better thing.
Right.
And other people worry about e-cigarettes getting more people to stay smoking or pick up smoking.
So they're not quitting at all.
Exactly, and so in the end what you have is more cigarettes.
From a doctor's perspective, smoking altogether, just a bad idea, whether it's e-cigarettes or traditional cigarettes.
Correct, yeah, exactly. I mean, the one thing we try to emphasize to our patients, our family members, and everybody is really tobacco cessation.
Got it. Dr. Denitza Blagev, thank you so much for joining us today and trying to break down such a complicated debate that we're still learning more about each day. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Brian, back to you.